Hello students. So, as we have seen yesterday the defects of vision and their correction, I hope now you are clear with the three main defects of the vision and their corrections. The first was the myopia or the nearsightedness. In myopia, you can see nearby objects clearly but cannot see the distant objects clearly, and so it is known as nearsightedness, where the image was formed before retina. In myopic eye, the image is formed in front of the retina. Okay, and this was due to the two main cases, that is the excessive curvature of the eye lens or the elongation of the eyeball, and thus a myopic eye needs a correction using concave lens. Using concave lens. Fine students, I hope now you are clear with the myopia. It is also known as nearsightedness. Its correction is concave lens. Okay, and the two main reasons due to which the myopic eye occurs is the excessive curvature of the eye lens and the elongation of the eyeball. Fine, let us move on to the next thing, that was hypermetropia. Here, the hypermetropia is also known as farsightedness. Okay, in farsightedness or in hypermetropia, you can see the distant objects clearly but cannot see nearby objects clearly. Fine, we can see far objects clearly but cannot see nearby objects clearly. So, this is known as hypermetropia and it is named as farsightedness. So, there will be a problem to see over things near than 25 centimeters. This defect mainly arises due to two forms. The focal length of the eye lens is too long. The focal length of the eye lens is too long, or the eyeball has become too small. The eyeball has become too small. Fine. Over here, the image is formed beyond retina. See students, in the myopic eye, the image was formed before retina. Over here, the image is formed beyond retina. The image is formed beyond retina. Okay, and for the correction of an hypermetropic eye, we use a convex lens. We use convex lens. Fine students, I hope you are clear with this. The third case was presbyopia. The presbyopia occurs generally due to the aging and with the decrease in the elasticity of the ciliary muscles, as the ciliary muscles cannot expand or contract the eye lens. This is due to which the presbyopia occurs. Fine. See, it is written over here, the power of the accommodation of the eye usually decreases with aging. Okay, and this defect is known as presbyopia. We cannot see even the nearby objects clearly as well as the far objects clearly, and so it is known as presbyopia. It arises due to the gradually weakening of the ciliary muscles and losing the flexibility of the eye lens. See, the reasons over here are given. It arises due to the gradual weakening of the ciliary muscles and losing the flexibility of the eye lens. A person may suffer from both myopia and hypermetropia. A person may suffer from both myopia and hypermetropia, and so we need to use both type of the lens, that is the bifocal lens. That is bifocal lens. A type of bifocal lens consists of both a concave and a convex lens. A concave and a convex lens. It facilitates distant vision as well as the nearby visions. This defect can also be corrected using a contact lenses or through the surgical interventions. Fine. I hope students now you know the questions of this, answers of this. What is meant by a power of accommodation? As we have learnt in the power of accommodation of an eye, the ability of an eye lens to adjust its focal length is known as power of accommodation. The ability of an eye lens to adjust its focal length is known as power of accommodation. Fine. See, a person with myopic eye, then the corrective lens used to restore proper vision will be, then it will be concave lens. The answer will be concave lens. Fine, students. What is the far point and the near point of the human eye with a normal vision? See, students, far point will be infinite for an individual and the near point will be 25 centimeter. So the normal distance lies between, the normal distant vision lies between 25 centimeter to infinite. 25 centimeter to infinite. Fourth question, a student has a difficulty reading the blackboard while sitting in the last row. What could be the defect the child is suffering from? How it can be corrected? See, if the student is sitting at the last bench and he cannot see the clear vision of a blackboard, that means he is suffering from myopia, that is nearsightedness, that he can see nearby objects clearly but cannot see distant objects clearly. So he is suffering from myopia and he needs a concave lens to correct this. Fine, students, I hope you are clear with this. You also need to know one more defects of vision given over here in the last page, and that was, sometimes the crystalline lens of people at old age becomes milky and cloudy. Sometimes the crystalline lens of people at old age becomes milky and cloudy, and the condition is known as cataract. Fine. This causes partial or the complete loss of vision. It is possible to restore vision through a cataract surgery. Okay, students, I hope you are clear with this. If you are having any doubts, then you please let me know. We have also seen the human eye and the power of accommodation. So today I am moving towards the next topic. See, something important it is given over here. Let us read that. Do you know that our eyes can live even after death? Yes. We can even donate our eyes after we die. We can light the life of a blind person. About 35 million people in developing world are blind and most of them can be cured. About 4.5 million people with a corneal blindness can be cured through a corneal transplantation of the donated eye. Fine. So the 4.5 million people who are having absence of the cornea can be cured through a corneal transplantation of the donated eyes. Out of these 4.5 million, 60% are children below the age of 12. So eye donors can belong to any group of sex. People who use spectacles or those operated for cataract can still donate the eyes. People who are diabetic, have hypertension, asthma patient and those without communicable diseases can also donate eyes. Eyes must be removed within 4 to 6 hours after death. Inform the nearest eye bank immediately. The eye bank team will remove their eyes at the home of the deceased or at a hospital. Eye removal takes only 10 to 15 minutes. It is a simple process and does not lead to any disfigurement. Persons who are infected with or died because of AIDS, hepatitis B or C, rabies, acute leukemia, tetanus, cholera, meningitis, encephalitis cannot donate eyes. An eye bank collects, evaluates and distributes the donated eyes. All eyes donated are evaluated using strict medical standards. Those donated eyes found unsuitable for transplantation are used for valuable research and medical education. Fine. The eyes which are being removed from the died patient but still cannot be donated due to some unsuitable reasons are used for the valuable research and medical education. The identities of both the donor and the recipient remain confidential. The identities of both the donor and the recipient remain confidential. One pair of eye gives vision up to 4 corneal blind peoples. I repeat, one pair of eyes gives vision up to 4 corneal blind patients. Okay, so fine. Now we will start the new topic, and that is refraction of a light through a prism. Refraction of a light through a glass prism. As we have studied the refraction of a light, whenever light travels through any transparent medium, it bends. Whenever light travels through any transparent medium, it bends. Generally, when the light travels from a thin medium to thicker medium, it moves away from the normal. It moves away from the normal. But whenever the light passes from thicker medium to thinner medium, it bends towards the normal. It bends towards the normal. Fine students, I hope you are clear with this. Let us read this. Refraction of a light through a prism. You have learned about how light gets refracted through a rectangular glass slab. You have learned about how light gets refracted through a rectangular glass slab. For a parallel refracting surfaces as in a glass slab, the emergent ray is always parallel to the incident ray. I repeat, the emergent ray is also known as the ray which is coming out from the ray. The emergent ray is always parallel to the incident ray. It is slightly displaced laterally. Consider triangular glass prism. It has two triangular bases and three rectangular lateral surfaces. These surfaces are inclined to each other. The angle between each two lateral surfaces is also known as angle of prism. Just now we are reading it, soon I will be explaining that. Okay, the angle between its two lateral surfaces is also known as angle of prism. Let us now see what happens. This is also known as prism. A triangular glass is generally known as prism. A triangular glass is generally known as prism. So what happens in a prism? Let us see that. See. In a refraction of a light through a triangular glass prism, if a light is incident from the say ray PQ, it coincides at point E. At point E is also known as point of incidence because at that point the refracted ray, the glass as well as the normal drawn to the plane all gets incident at one point. All gets incident at one point. Fine students. Now what happens? See, the ray bends towards the normal, and so it travels in a straight line inside the glass prism. Again, if the ray is coming out, that means it is going from thicker medium to thinner medium, and so the ray moves away from the normal. The ray moves away from the normal. So this is known as refraction of a light through a triangular glass prism. Okay, and so it is known as incident ray or refracted ray. The incident ray or refracted ray. See, over here everything is written that measure angle A in ABC triangle. A is known as the angle of prism. A is known as the angle of prism. I is known as the angle of incidence. I is known as the angle of incidence. R is known as the angle of refraction. R at point E is known as angle of refraction, as well as at point E it is known as angle of emergence, and at last it is D, that is also known as angle of deviation. Angle of deviation. See, each and everything is written over here, students. Let us read that. Here P is the incident ray. You can see that PE is the incident ray. EF is the refracted ray. EF is the refracted ray. And FS is the emergent ray. You may note that a ray of light is entering from air to glass at the first surface AB. The light ray on refraction has bent towards the normal. The light ray on refraction has bent towards the normal. At the second surface AC, the light ray has entered from glass to air. Hence, it has bent away from normal. Comparing the angle of incidence and the angle of refraction at each refracting surface, is this prism similar to the kind of that occurs in the glass slab? The peculiar design of the shape of the prism makes emergent ray bend at an angle of direction of the incident ray. Fine. And so the angle is also called the angle of deviation. It is also known as the angle of deviation. Mark the angle of deviation. As we all know, that is angle of deviation is D, the similar to the angle of incident ray. Fine students, I hope you are clear with this now. Let us move on to the new topic, and that is known as the dispersion of a white light by a glass prism. The dispersion of a white light by a glass prism. You must have seen and appreciated the specular colors in a rainbow. How could the white light of the sun give us various colors of the rainbow? Fine. Before we take up this question, we shall first go back to the refraction of a light through a glass prism. So, what is the function of this? Whenever the white colored light is incident into a triangular glass prism, whenever a white colored light is incident in a triangular glass prism, what happens? It changes into 7 color. It changes into 7 color. I repeat, whenever a white colored light is passed through a glass prism, it changes its form into 7 colors. That is generally known as Vibgyor. That is a short form of a rainbow color. That is violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. I repeat, that is the short form of Vibgyor, that a rainbow color. Violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. That is known as Vibgyor. The prism has probably split the incident white light into band of 7 colors. The colors that appear at the two ends of the color band. What is the sequence of the colors? The various colors seen are violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. The acronym of the Vibgyor will help you to remember the sequence of the colors. The band of these colored components of the light beam is known as spectrum. You please note that students, whenever this group of colors being produced, or the band of color components produced from a white light is also known as spectrum. It is known as spectrum. Fine students, you might not be able to see all the colors separately, yet something makes each color different from each other. The splitting of white light into 7 component colors is known as dispersion. The splitting of white light into 7 component colors is known as dispersion. Fine students, I hope you are clear with this. If you are having any doubts, then you please let me know. So, the 7 colors band from a white light is known as spectrum, and the splitting of this white light into another component colors is known as dispersion. Different colors of light bend through different angles with respect to the incident ray. Different colors of light bend through different angles with respect to the incident ray as they pass through a prism. The red light bends the least, while the violet light bends the most. I repeat students, the red light bends the least, while the violet light bends the most. Thus the rays of each color emerges along different paths and thus become distinct. It is the band of distinct colors that we see in a spectrum. But Isaac Newton, who have almost done experiments in all the fields of physics, also experiments something over here. He tried to keep more than 2 or 3 prisms in a group and tried to see that either we can produce more than 7 colors at the same time or not. He checked that either how many colors are produced at the same time, but he failed for that. Though he kept more than 2 or 3 prisms at the same time, only 7 colors were incident at a time, and so he came to a conclusion that from a white light only main 7 colors are made, and they were the violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. The violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. Fine students. So what happens? He tried one more experiment, and that was known as the recombination of the white light. Recombination of the spectrum of white light. He took two glass prisms. He took two glass prisms, and in that glass prisms he kept both the glass prisms in the inverted positions of each other. Inverted positions of each other. So what happens? Isaac Newton was the first to use a glass prism to obtain the spectrum of a sunlight. He tried to split the colors of the spectrum of white light further by using another similar prism, but he could not get any more colors. He could not get any more colors. He then placed a second identical prism in an inverted position. He then placed, note from your students, he then kept a second identical prism in an inverted position with respect to the first prism. Okay, and what did he observe? He saw that whenever a white light was incident through a normal glass prism, it produces 7 colors. It produces the band of 7 colors. But when the same prism was kept inverted to it, it produces the again white light. That shows that whenever two inverted prisms are joined together, it produces white light to 7 colors and 7 colors to another white light. Fine students, I hope you are clear with this. If you are having any doubt, then you please let me know. This allowed all the colors of the spectrum to pass through the second prism. He found a beam of white light emerging from the other side of the second prism. This observation gave Newton the idea that sunlight is made up of 7 colors. Any light that gives a spectrum similar to that of a sunlight is also known as white light. I repeat students, any light that gives a spectrum similar to that of a sunlight is often referred to as a white light. A rainbow is a natural spectrum appearing in the sky after a rain shower. It is caused by the dispersion of sunlight by tiny water droplets. Present in the atmosphere. A rainbow is always formed in the direction opposite to that of sun. The water droplets act like a small prism. They refract and disperse the incident sunlight, then reflect it internally and finally refract it again when it comes out of the raindrop. Due to the dispersion of light and internal reflection, different colors reach the observer's eye. Fine student, I hope you are clear with this. This is also known as write a short note on the formation of rainbow. Okay, I am telling you one more time, please go through that. A rainbow is a natural spectrum appearing in the sky after rain shower. It is caused by the dispersion of sunlight by tiny water droplets present in the atmosphere. A rainbow is always formed in the direction opposite to that of sun. This can be asked in the examinations. You please go through this, students. The water droplets act like a small prisms. They refract and disperse the incident sunlight and reflect it internally and finally refract it again when it comes out of the rainbow. Due to the dispersion of light and an internal reflection, different colors reach the observer's eye. You can also see a rainbow on a sunny day when you look at the sky through a waterfall or through a water fountain with the sun behind you. Fine students, I hope you are clear with this now. You can see a rainbow on a sunny day when you look at the sky through a waterfall or through a water fountain when the sun is behind you. Let us see a next topic that is also known as atmospheric refraction. That is known as atmospheric refraction. You might have observed that the apparent random wavering of the flickering of the objects seen through a turbulent stream of hot air rising above a fire or a radiator. Fine students, have you seen that the normal see, whenever the stove or a gas stove is on in our kitchen, you can see that the air above it is flickering, that is shivering. Fine, it is vibrating. Why does this happen? The air just above the fire becomes hotter than the air further above it. The air just above the fire becomes hotter than the air above it. So the hotter air is lighter than the cooler air above it. The hotter air is lighter than the cooler air above it. See students, the hotter air is dense whereas the cooler air is rare and has a refractive index slightly less than the cooler air, since the physical conditions of the refractive medium are not stationary. Fine. Can you understand this thing, students? The physical conditions of the refracting medium are not stationary. The apparent positions of the object. The apparent positions of the object as seen through the hot air fluctuates. This wavering is thus an effect of atmospheric refraction. This wavering is thus an effect of atmospheric refraction. The refraction of light by the Earth's atmosphere on a small scale in our local environment. The twinkling of a star is a similar phenomena on a much larger scale. Fine students, I hope you are clear with this. If you are having any doubts, then you please let me know. The atmospheric refraction, the flickering of the waves, the wavering, the shivering as well as the vibrating is due to the atmospheric refraction because the air above it is hotter than the air further up, and so the hotter air is less dense than the cooler air. The hotter air is less dense than the cooler air and has an refractive index slightly less than the cooler air. The apparent position of the object as seen through the hot air fluctuates. The wavering is thus an effect of the atmospheric refraction. The twinkling of stars is a similar phenomena on a much larger scale. Fine students, I hope you are clear with it. From tomorrow we will be starting from the twinkling of stars. Okay, if you are having any doubts then you please let me know. Thank you.